What is up, guys, and welcome to the Casual Wrestling Show, the #1 wrestling show meant specifically for casual wrestling fans. Each and every week, I, the Notorious Nerdy D, along with LevelUp Lauren,
what's up, y'all?
Go over the biggest questions in pro wrestling. You can find the show every Wednesday on YouTube and on your favorite podcast network. If you enjoy the content, make sure to join the Casual Community Discord group. Link is in the description of the video, and you can check it out. Everybody in there is super cool. We talk about wrestling, we talk about food, we talk about sports, we talk about everything. Talk about little of everything. Lots of cool people in there. So check that out. All right, Lauren, let's jump in to the podcast here. It was an interesting week of wrestling. Not story-wise. Particularly nothing going on story-wise is overwhelming, but one really big thing happened this week, more particularly yesterday. Okay. Triple H came out and goes, I'm going to drop a big announcement on everybody. And just out of the blue, he drops a new world heavyweight title.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Now, I think I've been calling for this for a long time. I thought we need Monday Night Raw, the hardest 3 hours in the world to sit through without a world heavyweight champion. So I've seen mixed reactions to this on the internet. I've seen a lot of people who try to call it like a consolation prize. They try to say it's a stupid thing to make a new belt. But the reality is, like, let's break kayfabe for a minute, okay? Let's be realistic. Title belts are vanity belts. They're made up titles. Nobody's winning these things.
Yeah.
There's somebody in the company who is picking who gets to wear that belt. So it's not like, the reality is it's not like nobody can beat Roman Reigns. Really, it's just the story right now calls for Roman Reigns to keep his titles. And Monday Night Raw is in need of a new title. And so I don't get why there's an issue with creating a new title. I don't get the IWC overreaction to once again just shitting on. I get accused of talking negative about everything. But the reality is I talk objectively, and I'm talking objectively here. I'm not going to complain about this new belt.
I think it's cool.
I like the new belt. I like the idea of the new belt. I like the design of the new belt.
It's very manly. I
think initially it's a little jarring because it is something that we're used to seeing, but updated to be a modern version of that. That is my favorite belt of all time, the World Heavyweight title, the WCW World Heavyweight Big Gold title. That's my favorite title. And what they did was, in pure WWE fashion, they slapped a big WWE logo in the middle of it. But I'm not mad at that. I actually like the way it looks. It looks like a modern world heavyweight title. First off, I don't know how anybody can pass judgment on a title until you actually see the first superstar holding that title belt. Because until then, it's just sitting on a table. And I can tell you one funny thing about the WWE belts, as you can see back there. They're so hard to light for cameras.
Really?
Yes. They just, it's the mixture of the gold and the diamonds. They shine so kind of brilliantly that they don't necessarily look good when they're in one place. When you move them around or they're on someone's shoulder and they have a different look. But when you set them up and you try to spotlight them, it's definitely a lot harder to do. Like when you look at this belt in the room, it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
When you go look at it on camera, it's got all these like bright spots and hot spots from the light. So it's hard to do. So seeing that belt on the table is one thing. Going then to WWEshop.com and seeing the belt professionally photographed is a whole different situation. I was completely changed when I saw it online. I was like, oh, that thing looks good. Like it looks really good. But Monday Night Raw has to have a champion. Like you can't go 3 hours with a world heavyweight champion. And my argument is here for everybody who says that now essentially I believe that the other two titles are one title. There's no chance of them ever being split up again.
Yeah.
Those are going to be merged together. The argument for that is the big knock on the Universal title was it had no lineage. It had no story. It had no history. Well, now you influx it and you combined it with the WWE title, which is essentially the lineage of the WWE title, which is also now merged with the lineage of the old World Heavyweight title. So you get all of that WWE history, and they're just going, mash all that shit together, attach it to the Universal Championship, and now that belt is just a representation of everybody who's been a WWE champion pre this belt.
That's a little confusing.
Well, what it does is, I think the knock is, right now we're coming up to 1,000 days with Roman Reigns. Yeah. Okay? But we're coming up to 1,000 days on the Universal Championship, a belt that doesn't have much history. Mm-hmm. So that celebration doesn't seem as spectacular as if you go, no. He's 1,000 days champion, just WWE champion. It doesn't matter if it's the WWE title, the Universal title, the heavyweight title. He's 1,000 days of. So it's actually a little trick they're doing here. By combining the belts, they're making Roman Reigns' title run seem even more magnificent. Because if you want to be real, he's only been WWE champion since he won that belt from Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania about a year ago.
Yeah.
But now they're taking his Universal title run, and they're just jamming the two together, and they can tell a whole different story. So it makes sense to me. I get it now. If you break those titles apart, if you force him to split those titles up, they go back to having their own lineage, right? Mm-hmm. Roman just stays Universal champion. And then the WWE champion takes that lineage with them. By doing this, Roman's belt is the more important of the two belts as far as history and lineage. Now we have a new world title that's going to be kind of the workman's title. Triple H kind of announced it as like, hey, this is the one you're going to see on TV all the time. Mm-hmm. This one will develop its own history and its own lineage.
That's kind of cool.
And they can still kind of play into the history of the world heavyweight title whenever they want to, because it's similar enough that you can kind of play those games with it. Now here's the thing. Someone asked me before we went on to book a tournament for the world heavyweight title, which is absolutely something I don't think WWE will do. They're not going to book a title for this tournament. I think you're just going to show up at Night of Champions, and there's going to be two people who fight for this belt. So I don't want to book a tournament. I don't want to book a fantasy tournament. What I want to do is I created my odds on favorites.
Nice.
To be the first ever new WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Mm-hmm. I'm going to work backwards off this list here, and you tell me what you think of this list, okay? Mm-hmm. At plus 2,500, which means if you bet $100, you would win 2,500 imaginary Notorious bucks, okay?
All right.
I have Grayson Waller from NXT. If you just wanted to be batshit crazy in your WWE, you let somebody completely new win this belt. Now, plus 2,500, this almost has zero chance of happening, but I'm saying if you just wanted to shock the world, I think that's a guy that could do it. At plus 1,800, Lauren, I have LA Knight. Now, this is who I want to win it.
Yeah.
I've been making graphics all day trying to put this out on the internet, tweeting at Triple H, atting him, telling him, let's make this happen, man. I think LA Knight with the World Heavyweight Championship could be a fun start to that belt. I don't think it's happening. That's why I have it at plus 1,800. Plus 1,400 is a guy we've heard is going to be pushed forever, Montez Ford. I just think Montez would be an exciting person to start that belt off with. I think that the optics of him and Bianca Belair as husband and wife champions, you got to assume her title reign doesn't last forever. So you only have a certain amount of time to strike to be able to get that photo opportunity of Montez and Bianca both holding titles going into, we know they've got a new television show coming up. So winning that title initially doesn't even need to be a long title run. I just think that there's a possibility that could make sense. The optics look right in that one. At number 5 here, I have at plus 800, Brock Lesnar. There's no faster way to give credibility to a title than to put it on the baddest motherfucker in WWE. Like, no matter what, when you see Brock Lesnar holding a title, you immediately go, oh, that must mean something, right?
Yeah.
Like, that must be something. If Brock Lesnar has it, that's got to be a real deal belt. Mm-hmm. Also at plus 800, I have Austin Theory.
Really?
Yeah, I just, at some point they have to put up or shut up with Austin Theory. Mm-hmm. He can't be United States champion forever, and that title run is absolutely going nowhere. So yeah. At a certain point, they're going to have to pull the trigger. He's been, Mr. Money in the Bank. Then he kind of got demoted back down to United States champion. You've got a new belt that you could put on Austin Theory. It would be a quick way to find out if investing all that time into him is worth it, or if maybe you go, hey, he's a mid-card guy, right? Let's just keep him in the mid-card. But you could find out quickly with a new title. But then we get into the top three. The three guys that I actually feel like have a legitimate shot at walking away from Night of Champions with this title. These are the three guys that I think, the other guys are fun. It's fun to speculate. It's fun to make odds and pick people. But these are the three people that I think end up in that conversation. At number 3, I have even money. I think if you bet this is a fairly safe bet. I think a lot of people would agree. Seth Rollins. Okay. Right?
That would be nice.
I mean, he's the workhorse. He shows up. It's always going to be a good match. He probably on this list has the biggest following crowd-wise. He's the most over with the crowd. He's a guy who can work babyface. He can work heel. He can work however you want him to work. But I think that if you're trying to jumpstart a world title, he's a solid name to put it on.
True.
I have him at even money. Now at minus 200, this is just because this feels like WWE wants this. I believe I have him at minus 200 and not in the top spot because I still don't think it's time, but it's Cody Rhodes.
Okay.
I still think Cody needs more. The optics on Cody Rhodes winning this title and not getting the job done with the title that he quote unquote started his story for. I don't like that. I think that then it does really feel like a consolation prize. Mm-hmm. That's where it feels like a consolation prize to me, is if Cody couldn't win the big one, so we made him his own belt. I don't like that story. So here I'm going to hit you with this one. Number 1 at minus 400, who I think should become the first ever world heavyweight champion, Gunther.
That'd be pretty cool.
I think that the optics of Gunther holding that title belt and having a pretty solid first run. So it's easy to tell the story, right? Gunther gets drafted to Monday Night Raw. Mm-hmm. Gunther comes in, whatever, loses. He could lose his Intercontinental title at any point in time here in the future before we get to Night of Champions. But Gunther goes into Night of Champions, put him against whoever you want. Seth Rollins. I wouldn't do Cody Rhodes because I don't think you want Cody losing. Maybe Brock Lesnar.
Okay.
I mean, a hell of a match at Night of Champions is going to be Gunther versus Brock Lesnar for the World Heavyweight Championship. That would work.
Yeah.
But I think that my odds-on favorite, we've been hearing the rumblings, we've heard the rumors, we hear everybody talking that Gunther, it's the summer of Gunther. Uh-huh. What a better way to start it than to put a world title on him that would look like, just look at the belt. It's designed, it's a wrestler's title, and Gunther kind of represents wrestling. Whereas I think the WWE title kind of screams sports entertainer. Mm-hmm. I think Gunther's the right guy. I think he can carry the load. I think he's a workhorse. I think he can show up at every premium live event. Gunther's not trying to become a fucking actor, so you don't have to worry about him wandering off. You know what I mean? That's a real problem. Like, guys like Seth Rollins, you have to worry that, like, someone in Hollywood doesn't go, Seth, you want to do a movie? Not that Seth, that's not, it's unfair because Seth has never shown like that's the direction he's going, but he has that personality. Same with Cody Rhodes. There's rumblings that like he's in talks to do a movie with Nintendo for Zelda or something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's been these rumors. I just don't think that's a problem you have to worry about.
Or he could be Homelander's brother. He
could be Homelander's brother. But I don't think that's a problem you have to worry about with Gunther. I think he's there and he'll wrestle every fucking night if you let him. Mm-hmm. That's what I believe.
Yeah.
So let's talk about now. So if that's the deal, let's talk about Roman Reigns. And let's talk about the WWE Universal Champion. I don't know what we call it now. Undisputed, because it can't be undisputed anymore. Because when you have a second world title, it's disputed again, right?
Yeah, I mean,
I don't
really know, honestly.
That's the reality.
Why is it called the Undisputed Championship?
Because you had 2 world championships, right?
Okay.
You had the black belt, which was the WWE Championship. You had the Universal one, which was the blue one. Roman won both of those. If one person holds that belt, he's not disputed. There's no other world heavyweight champion. You make a new championship belt, he's disputed again.
That makes sense.
So that belt is gonna have to change. And that's what the question I'm getting at is, does Roman Reigns get a new belt? Is it time to now change that belt as well?
I think so, because what's the point of keeping 2 belts if they're not separate?
Well, so I absolutely hate the optics of 2 belts. I think it's an ugly. I think initially when you first win them, it's awesome, right? I have 2 belts, but you unify those belts. It's what happens in boxing. It happens in a lot of sports. You unify those belts, and those belts become one title, and then you create a new title around those titles. Optically, go for like a yellow strap or a gold strap. Do something visually that's intriguing to make a new universal title.
Tell me why in my head I literally just pictured like, hey, let's take part of the blue belt and the other belt and put them together and we're good to go.
So I've seen people do that design, but they've done blue and red, which I don't think is a bad design as well either. But it's going to have to be something optically different to what
was already been there.
Yeah, than what we have, right? You can't go to a red belt because that's existed. Mm-hmm. I don't think you can just choose between the 2 because then it makes the other one kind of seem non-existent. Also, you got to look at it from like a marketing and merchandising standpoint, right? WWE is just at this point a giant commercial. That's what WWE, the monster, the machine is meant to do. It's meant to sell you fucking t-shirts. It's meant to sell you video games, mobile games. It's meant to, here's a Mountain Dew fucking pitch black match. Go look for Mountain Dew pitch black. It's designed, it's a commercial now, right? And what is the most expensive item really that WWE sells? It's those fucking title belts. And when you go to an event, when you go to WrestleMania, like they're selling out of them.
That's crazy.
At $500 a pop. And you can't tell me I get the itch, right? I see that new belt and I go, shit.
And I'm just like, it's okay, just go get it.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying like I got to put that belt on the set, right? So there's bing, there's $500. And there's a lot of people who are wired that way who go, I need the new shiny thing. So if you're Endeavor or if you're WWE trying to show Endeavor how much of a like marketing machine you are, you go, hey, look, we just added a new title belt. Watch how fast it sells out.
True.
Okay. Then a couple weeks later, you go, everybody's got the black belt. Everybody's got the blue belt. Everybody's got a red belt. But does everybody got this new yellow belt or whatever it is, or this half blue, half red? There's another belt that's going to sell out, right? Because everybody wants to be Roman Reigns. And it's not just the $500 belt. Mm-hmm. It's the $100 belt that sells, the one that's not made of metal. It's plastic, right?
Yeah.
It's the $29 belt that sells inside of Target and Walmart. It's the action figures that all have to be updated to have the new title. It's a like every time a title
that comes out.
Exactly. And so every time you get a change in belts, the marketing and the merchandising is exponential. And if this really is the era of Triple H, I can see him just kind of want like a fresh coat of paint on things.
I mean, I would think so, because why do you want somebody else's?
Well, you can just like, you don't have to. Triple H has always had an affinity for the big WCW title, but like, I still think changing that other belt, combining it, making it its own thing, it definitely works. We're coming up on the draft here, real quick. We're about a week away from the draft, and I see a lot of people who are complaining about the draft because it absolutely, the reality is it doesn't mean anything. I've seen a lot of people complain about WWE uses the draft. It's just a refresh of rosters. It's a way to break up tag teams without real explanation, right? They keep teasing that they're going to break up the Street Profits. So instead of giving them a story that actually makes sense to break them up, you do this weird thing where these once again, I don't know who's making the choices for each brand, which bothers me a little bit. I like to have figureheads. I liked when we had Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville. At least we knew kind of where these decisions were coming from. I like general managers. But I had a question for you and a question for everybody who listens is, this is just an idea. I have not thought this through. But what if WWE, SmackDown, and Raw became regional?
Like, what do you mean?
What if Monday Night Raw was a West Coast show?
Okay, so just like...
It traveled the west part of the United States.
Okay.
What if SmackDown was an East Coast show and it traveled only the east of the United States? And I mean, you literally could take a line and split it. I'm sure there's someone smart who could sit and average out the biggest cities that they go to and how to appropriately market, like, to what area this would do better with, whatever.
Yeah.
But what if you made it regional? So it's like,
what would the benefits be?
Okay, so look, it's like professional sports, right? The draft would matter because if for the last year you were only able to see Roman Reigns because you were on the East Coast, you would hope in the draft the next year that he got drafted to the West Coast team.
Yeah.
Hey, this next 365 days, when WWE comes to my city, Roman Reigns will be on that roster.
You could have East versus
As
West,
of right now, right?
Things.
It's just, there's no allegiance when SmackDown shows up in San Antonio or Raw shows up in San Antonio. You just go. But what if you could only see Monday Night Raw in San Antonio? That was the only show that would come to San Antonio. You would begin to develop an allegiance to Monday Night Raw, which then plays farther into this idea of like brand specific premium live events. Events where you pit Survivor Series, where you're pitting two sides against each other. Bragging rights, cool. where you're the kind of feel of the All-Star game. To me, regional, you would start to cheer and be excited about the wrestlers that were on your team. And when the draft came, there would be a real stake. Like there would be something like if your favorite wrestler is Drew McIntyre, you're crossing your fingers that he shows back up on your roster. Or like if I want to see Drew McIntyre for the next 365 days, I'm going to have to travel somewhere.
I mean, when you put it that way, like you got me a little bit excited. Like,
well, this is so. So this is a method that the Harlem Globetrotters used to use. The Harlem Globetrotters used to have regional teams that traveled, so that way you don't. But also from just a logistical standpoint, WWE would only have to. They know like where each set is traveling.
It'd probably be easier on the wrestlers
instead of jumping from like Texas to Massachusetts. You would just know that you're kind of going up the West Coast, like Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, California, up back around kind of and like I said, you can draw that weird, funny line. Whatever makes sense to split the cities up, it would make sense, but it would shake up the roster in a way that would mean something, which then got me to thinking, then premium live events all of a sudden get a little more exciting, right?
Yeah.
Royal Rumble. It can be an event where both sides still participate, but I'm going to be cheering for the guys that are specific to my area.
That's true.
Right? Then in February, you could do a SmackDown specific premium live event. Only SmackDown people. So that audience is going to pay attention, right? Then March, WrestleMania, everybody comes back together. April, you do a Raw premium live event. What this does, Lauren, it gives wrestlers time off.
True.
They get that month to kind of decompress and not have to worry about building towards a premium live event, right? Then comes May, Night of Champions. Only champions perform. So now you're watching this show and you're cheering for your champion. I mean, does that not mean if Bianca Belair
it creates allegiance, and so you have more vested interest in it, which I actually kind of like because there have been times that I've watched and I'm kind of just like, okay, I don't understand why I'm supposed to like this person.
Exactly.
But if I had like a reason to, then I would.
It creates a team mentality, right? Yeah. So you could go May or June, another SmackDown event, July, Money in the Bank, August, SummerSlam, where everybody comes back together and it's like this party where then you're behind the scenes. It's like wrestlers getting to see each other. Hey, we ain't seen each other in a while, right? Yeah. It's a party. This event isn't meant to be
But also, it's like what you said earlier. Like, if somebody gets drafted to the other side, that's exciting. But you could even do like special one night only Raw.
You could
on
do
the East
trades
Coast.
too.
Oh, during the season.
So let's say, and it works on a logistical level of like, oh, Seth Rollins got hurt. SmackDown's going to need somebody. Well, then you work out this trade, and it's something that gets talked about. Oh shit, so and so got traded. You know,
Just like they do with football.
Exactly.
I like that.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that works. It kind of hit me. I was just thinking about how to make the draft better.
Maybe somewhere, someone will hear what you're saying.
No one's ever gonna hear what I'm saying. All right, Lauren, let's talk about the Backlash card.
Okay.
Right off, first big match we have here is Omos versus Seth Rollins, which is, once again, WWE not even fucking concerned with story, goes, here's two guys. Check. Yeah. Puerto Rico needs these two guys. We want to feature Omos because I don't know what reason. And we got to give people Seth Rollins. So this works. Put them both in a match. Let them fight each other. What? I don't get it. I don't get, why can't we just create a story around this?
Because they don't think that far ahead.
I mean, but it doesn't require that much effort. You can create a story in one night. On one Monday Night Raw, you can create enough story to make it make sense. I just sometimes think they don't even give a shit.
True.
Is there any chance Omos can win this match?
No.
So what are we doing with Omos?
Destroying him.
I mean, he just loses constantly, and we just keep putting him on premium live events. And he just keeps losing. Rollins has to win this match. There's no possible way Rollins loses this match. Theory versus Lashley versus Bronson Reed. This has been building up the last couple weeks. This makes sense. Still kind of just, this is WrestleMania Backlash.
Okay.
What is this a backlash from?
I don't know. I didn't even
There's
know.
no backlash for Theory versus Lashley versus Reed. Bobby Lashley wasn't even on the pay-per-view. Bronson Reed wasn't on the pay-per-view. Theory fought John Cena. I'm not mad. It's going to be a solid match, but I don't know what the backlash is. Rhea Ripley versus Zelina Vega.
I didn't understand that one at all.
Well, she's Puerto Rican.
Oh, I mean.
Why was this event called Backlash is my only problem.
Why wasn't it just called the Puerto Rican Festival?
I mean, I don't know. But why wasn't it given a clever name, right? Why wasn't it just branded something in the vein of like The Island, right? Or Bash at the Beach, right?
Yeah.
Whatever it is. Well, that's an old WCW pay-per-view.
I know it is.
It used to be done outside on the beach.
Me and I'd like to see a real one.
But to me, like, that makes more sense than calling this WrestleMania Backlash and having almost zero backlash from WrestleMania. But so we got Rhea Ripley versus Zelina Vega. Fine. Super predictable what's going to happen here. Whatever. Bianca Belair versus Io Sky. Once again, not backlash from WrestleMania.
No.
And I'm actually okay with things not being backlash, except that when you call it WrestleMania Backlash, it should feel like there's some connection to that. The only thing that really is connected to that is the Bloodline versus Kevin Owens and Riddle and Sami Zayn. Mm-hmm. That's it. That's the only real fallout from WrestleMania. Bad Bunny versus Damian Priest in a street fight.
Yeah. So
we've just completely now gone away from this Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio story. Who the fuck did that benefit?
I have no idea.
I still don't understand why Dom did not win that match. I get that there will be involvement from Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio in this match because it's no rules. It's a street fight and everybody will get involved. But like, it seemingly has become more about marketing to the Puerto Rican crowd than continuing that story, which is weird. It's fucking weird to me. And then you have Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar, which is the right match to make, but once again, is not a match about WrestleMania. So those typically.
So which of those were actually from WrestleMania?
The Bloodline, and it's going to be basically Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens versus, and then they added Solo and they added Riddle. But other than that, none of these matches are really a back. I guess Cody and Brock, you could say, is Backlash, but no, it's not. It's not Backlash because that involved Roman Reigns and he's not on the card.
Yeah.
No fucking LA Knight again. I mean, I don't understand what Triple H is doing with LA Knight. What do we do? What are we hiding him from?
I mean, I like LA Knight better than Bronson Reed.
Well, fuck, you could have thrown him in that match.
Yeah.
Theory, LA Knight, Lashley, and Bronson Reed, but no LA Knight. Once again, it's just like sometimes I think guys get hot and they don't know what to do with them. And I wish they could figure out what to do with LA Knight. I had the question here. This is weird. This is kind of out of order, but how long do we think Roman Reigns will be champion? I just saw people talking about this. I think with the addition of a new world title, it's going to be a long time. I don't think that there's any path right now. There's no indication that he's losing this anytime soon. I think that I truly do believe they still have in the back of their minds trying to get The Rock and Roman Reigns in a ring together. And I think if that's Philadelphia, I could easily see them go, leave it on Roman until WrestleMania.
Yeah.
At this point, when you have the other world title, what they're going to do with this other world title is anytime Roman doesn't show up, that world title will be the main event of the premium live event. And it's smart. It works. It absolutely works. And what they'll do is you can line up these bullshit opponents for Roman for the next, what do you assume? He'll work Night of Champions.
I think for at least another year, in my opinion.
But let's be realistic here with Roman Reigns. He'll work Night of Champions.
Mm-hmm.
He'll work SummerSlam.
Okay.
After that, what's the next big thing that he really has to work? Maybe one more. So maybe we see Roman wrestle 3 more times this year.
That's crazy.
I mean, that to me, I think that's the reality. So it's not that hard to believe, right? Then we're back at the Royal Rumble. We'll be back at the rumors and whispers of The Rock winning the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Which will lead right into everybody going. Then
I just don't think your champion can only show up like every so often. He needs to be there, in my opinion.
So I agree. I mean, I'm with you on that, but it's the way it's worked so far. People are still buying into this. And when you have the other world championship belt and Triple H kind of lays it out as this is the workman's belt, all he's doing is telling you, expect to see this belt every premium live event. We don't know when Roman's going to show up. Roman shows up when Roman wants to show up.
Pretty much.
Last thing I have on here was it kind of made the rounds, and you didn't know about this. I told you about 5 minutes before we went on. CM Punk showed up at Monday Night Raw before the show started. I did not know that. He was walking around. Your flashlight's on. He was walking around backstage, and so now there's all this speculation, all these insiders are conflicting information. What's CM Punk doing, right?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I thought like he wasn't allowed at WWE. Did I make that up?
So let's talk about this. So what I think was happening, because from what I've deciphered from different reports, is he was, number one, it was in Chicago.
His hometown.
So he goes, fuck it, I'm going to show up. I think he was making amends. I think he was walking around backstage. Supposedly he made amends. He had a little bit of beef with The Miz. Mm-hmm. Apparently they 100% were like, fuck it, we're cool now. Just things that happen. I mean, CM Punk is a curmudgeon.
I like that word.
He's a grumpy man, right? Uh-huh. And so I think that he rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. I do believe that CM Punk went to AEW thinking this is going to be fucking unicorns and rainbows. And then he goes, oh, these guys suck.
I thought you sucked, but they like suck.
Yeah, those guys over there in WWE at least had fucking respect for what was going on. These guys are fucking pricks, right? That's what I believe happened.
Do you think it made him kind of appreciate what he called like the company man and like, you know, the whole culture and everything?
I think the older he gets, the more he understands that wrestling is a business. I think he has the same mentality that a lot of people my age who watch wrestling have of like, wrestling was better in the 90s. Mm-hmm. It was. But like, there's a lot that's gone into play to change. Wrestling is an advertisement now. It's not about the wrestling anymore. It is about selling t-shirts and selling premium live events and selling belts and selling soft drinks. That's more what wrestling is now. And I think as he gets older, he starts to see the dollar signs and he's he goes to MMA and he kind of sees how that operates. Then he goes to AEW and he sees the clusterfuck that could be. And so while I don't think he probably goes WWE's perfect, but I think in his mind he's got to go like you said, this might not have been as bad as I thought it was. Yeah. And so I think there's a part of him that looks around at the landscape of wrestling and he goes, there's an avenue that gets me to the WrestleMania, which has been my dream since the very beginning. Maybe I show up in the back and I shake hands and I take a temperature of what the climate is back here. Now, it said that he was asked to leave by Vince McMahon.
Okay.
But I've seen some people go, well, this is a clear sign that Vince McMahon wants nothing to do with him. No. Tony Khan keeps fucking threatening to sue WWE for tampering.
Why?
Because remember when Triple H took over, they said that Triple H was talking to wrestlers about bringing them back, and Tony Khan was all butthurt about how you can't talk to my wrestlers, they're under contract.
But how come you can't just talk to him as a friend?
So you can, but I think that the problem is CM Punk is this guy right now who's kind of an enigma, and we don't know where he's going to work next. Yeah. So the idea is probably the optics of Vince McMahon going, or Triple H going, we don't even want it to seem like we're talking to you about coming back.
I mean, it's also kind of bullshit on Tony Khan's part because, hello.
Well,
he's a man. He can make his own decisions about where he wants to go.
Well, but it obviously happens both ways. With Cesaro and all those guys, somebody was talking to them. Yes. What it is Tony Khan uses Jericho and the Elite and Kenny Omega to do the talking so that he doesn't get in trouble. The difference is Triple H and Vince McMahon run their company like a fucking business, and they don't send out fucking props to go do these things, right? But so this is what I'm thinking, is I think, it was said that maybe he stopped Triple H, who was somebody who he's had problems with, and said, do you have a couple minutes to talk? And that the conversation between them was, I can't talk right now. Mm-hmm. I need to go make sure it's even okay for you to be here. But I think they're saying that the exchange was at least cordial.
That's good.
And that it came back and it was
maybe even when he was asked to leave, it wasn't like,
so apparently,
get the fuck out of here.
Apparently it was. And he left.
It was?
No, it was cordial.
Oh, okay.
That he was like, no, I get it. I'll leave. Not a big problem. Just wanted to say hi.
So he had to leave the whole arena?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I mean, I'm sure he could have bought a ticket and gone inside, but I don't think that's what he was there to do. Now, multiple things to take away from this.
So he just showed up.
Backstage. I mean, CM Punk, he knows the wrestlers.
Okay, he could just walk in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nobody's stopping CM Punk from walking in the back. He knows where to
ticket.
He knows where to park. He knows where to he knows the entrance everybody's going in. I'm sure he pulls up and sees a couple guys.
Sense. Yeah, now I get it. Okay.
So, but there's two things I think come from this, right? There's two options. One, he's checking the climate. Mm-hmm. He's saying hey, this AEW shit may not work out. There's a chance I get bought out of my contract. I may need a place to wrestle, right? Two, which I think is more realistic, is CM Punk is a fucking businessman. He understands right now. He understands that his name has been drugged through the fucking dirt, and that as far as kind of the indie wrestling scene, most people want to try to shit on CM Punk. So he shows up at Monday Night Raw, and what happens? We're all talking about him again.
Yeah.
WWE fans are going, oh, fuck, this is it. He's coming back. He drums up an excitement. Now, when it comes time to sit down with Tony Khan, all I do is fucking stare at what WWE's doing. If Tony Khan really thinks that WWE would be interested in CM Punk, I guarantee you the way he perceives CM Punk changed just based on this climate that's going on right now, him showing up.
He's like the jealous girlfriend.
Well, I think that there's leverage in this for CM Punk. So I think CM Punk goes back, and now he's going to go meet with Tony Khan, and he's going to go, they'd love to have me. The reception was fine.
Just be one in this.
And so Tony Khan has to figure out now, what do I do with CM Punk? He was just leaving him on the shelf knowing I can do whatever I want. There's not a real worry. His name's kind of tarnished. All of a sudden, it looks like, hey man, at least The Miz and these guys, they're all willing to kind of mend fences with him. The WWE is a possibility. So we have this rumor that Tony Khan's starting a Saturday night show for CM Punk. But does that really work? Is that a real fix, or is that just a bullshit workaround that he's going to try, may never come to be, or may never even see its full potential, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. I love wrestling, but that is a lot of fucking wrestling to watch.
Yeah, and Saturday night to me is just not a good night.
No,
It's a good night for
do shit.
It's a good night for premium live events once a month.
Exactly.
The anticipation's built up. I know one Saturday a month I'm going to sit down to watch this.
Event to have fun and do.
Yeah, but I don't think every Saturday I'm watching a show. Number two, if you're Tony Khan and you see this and now you're extremely nervous, are you willing to just pay? I don't remember exactly. I think it was like $50 million. Are you willing to just pay CM Punk to sit at home? I mean, are you willing for the next 2 years to just cut that check, send it to him, and have him just sit at home? Because that's what he's doing right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he's like rehabbing an injury or whatever, but like the reality is Tony Khan is paying him to stay home. So you got to ask, at this point, will Tony Khan consider a buyout? Will he buy that? Hey, $4 or $5 million, I buy you out. You can go do whatever you want. Is CM Punk interested in that? There's so many questions surrounding it, but I think this was such a sneakily smart move by CM Punk to drum up this like get people talking about
you said
this.
He's always kind of done, right? It's kind of like,
yeah, I think he's an intelligent guy.
Yeah.
And I think that he saw like, oh, the elite want to play fucking dirty. I could do the same thing.
Yeah.
I do this and now I've drummed up all this interest. And so now I think the ball goes back to the elite, right? The ball goes to the elite's court. And can the elite put their egos aside and go, hey man, we may have the biggest feud in pro wrestling. If we put CM Punk and Kenny Omega or the elite in a ring together, we could probably sell out any stadium we want to. And they're doing this big show overseas. If you want to sell out that arena, I think CM Punk just gave you the avenue to do it. But I think for CM Punk, it's a little bit of a like put up or shut up to Tony Khan. Like, you know, I still have options. There's still other people who will take me. All right, Lauren, I want to try something new this week.
Okay.
I want to do a segment called If Triple H Won't Explain It, Then Chat GPT Will.
All right.
So I want to take something that's happened in the WWE. I didn't do Omos and Seth Rollins. It was too last minute for me, but I want to know why the Viking Raiders want to be in the WWE.
Okay.
Right? These are fucking giant Vikings, and there's no explanation what their motivation. So I'm gonna read you a story here, okay? Chat GPT, I gave it a nice little. I took the bios. Their bios from WWE.com, which are interesting because most of the bios don't match up with what like guys' motivation are on the television show. So Triple H might want to just check that out and see like currently update some of those fucking bios. But I took the bios, I gave it the bios, I kind of gave ChatGPT a heads up on what's going on in the story.
Okay.
And so I've let it know what happened at WrestleMania, and I let it know that the Viking Raiders are currently in a beef with Ricochet and Braun Strowman. So this is what it told me. It told me the Viking Raiders' motivation for attacking Ricochet and Braun Strowman is rooted in their belief in the superiority of Viking heritage. Okay? The loss at WrestleMania was a blow to their Viking pride. And they have now decided to single out Ricochet and Braun Strowman as a means to prove their dominance. In this backstage attack, the Viking Raiders were fueled by their desire to reestablish their position as a force to be reckoned with. They see Ricochet and Braun Strowman as symbols of the modern world, and they need to conquer that. Ultimately, they need to reshape the image of the WWE in the image of Viking culture. Moving forward, the Viking Raiders' purpose is now to pursue a campaign to reclaim the glory of Vikings by challenging and defeating all other tag teams that they perceive to be threats to the Viking legacy. The Viking Raiders become embroiled in a heated rivalry with Ricochet and Braun Strowman as the two teams clash repeatedly in a series of high-stakes matches. This ongoing feud not only provides thrilling entertainment for fans, but also serves to test the limits of the Viking Raiders and their resilience. Ultimately, the Viking Raiders' journey is about proving that the spirit of Vikings is still a force to be reckoned with, while also seeking to unite the WWE universe under the Viking banner, celebrating power and glory of ancient ancestors. Can somebody give this to can somebody explain to Triple H that ChatGPT will write creative for him?
Yeah.
That he could fire all of these numbskulls in the fucking back and we could just sit and do this? That shit was fucking dope.
I have a whole backstory now. I know what's going to happen.
But
I know why they're doing it.
No lie. The next time we watch the Viking Raiders, and this is in the back of my head, I might have a little bit of interest in it.
I mean, Dustin, literally anytime that we say, like, why is this happening? Why are they fighting each other?
That's my point of this segment. This segment I'm going to use.
Oh, that's what it is.
Yes.
Segment. Okay.
This segment is meant. This segment is meant to fill in those gaps. Why am I not interested in watching the Viking Raiders? Because I don't know what their motivation is. I'm gonna give everybody their motivation.
Reclaim the Viking ways.
Yeah. All right, Lauren, let's move into, it's that time again for the most electrifying segment in podcast history. Welcome to Name This Tag Team. Each week, I present 2 random WWE superstars. It is up to you, the amazing listeners, to come up with a creative and unforgettable name for the new tag team. Submit your suggestions on our Discord channel, hashtag Name This Team. And make sure to tune in to the next episode when we reveal the team names from the week before. But that's not all. As a special bonus, the newly formed tag team will enter the virtual squared circle in WWE 2K23 Universe mode, where they will challenge for the casual mode tag team title. So, Lauren.
Okay.
Here are the 5 best tag team names that we saw from last week.
All right.
Now, if you remember correctly, quit studying for 10 questions.
I'm studying for 10 questions.
Last week we did Logan Paul.
Yes.
And Triple H.
Huh?
So I got 5 names.
Triple Dipper.
Triple Dipper? Mm-hmm. So give me the reason for that.
Because there's the 3 X's in Triple H.
Okay. And then, what is the dipper part of that?
Because Logan Paul, he's a dipper. He dips into the ring. Get it? Triple Dipper.
I don't. Okay. So here's our first one. Okay, and I've now decided you're the final say in this.
Okay.
I don't want to have a say in the name. I'm just going to give you the names, and you choose your favorite one. Okay. Number 1 is Primal Instinct. Instinct. I said instinct.
Okay, instinct.
Okay.
The
idea of this is that Triple H was part of the Evolution.
Uh-huh.
Or no, it is the evolution is that the fittest and strongest survive, and that it's that natural instinct that keeps you alive. And of course, we all know where Prime comes from.
Okay, that's what I thought that was.
Okay. We have the Paul Levesque connection.
What's Levesque?
That is Triple H's last name.
Okay.
So it would be Paul Levesque. I'm not sure that has deeper connotations to wrestling, but I don't.
Okay.
Well, as a casual fan, I don't know. Like that one was liked in the Discord, but I don't know.
Yeah.
What the connotation? Okay. Prime Degeneration.
Because he's part of Degeneration X.
Degeneration X and Prime. Okay. The Cerebral Mavericks.
Okay.
Generation Paul.
Okay.
Now I read that to be like the word generational, but generation pool.
It's generation pool?
So Paul. But like if you try to say it with a dialect, like, okay, the word generational.
Yes.
Right? He's a generational talent.
Uh-huh.
Generation Paul.
Generation Paul.
Generation Paul.
Just Paul.
Okay. So you've got Primal Instinct, the Paul Levesque connection, Prime Degeneration, the Cerebral Mavericks, and Generation Paul.
So I feel like the wrestling connoisseurs would want me to pick the Levesque one. I really like. I really like Primal Instincts.
Lauren, don't appease the fucking people.
I think that it sounds cool.
Primal Instinct.
Primal Instinct.
All right, that was by We Too Deep. Primal Instinct is your winner.
No wonder I liked it.
So here we go. Our first match for the casual tag team titles.
Okay.
What the fuck was Kofi's and Ray's name? What was the winner? COVID-19.
Okay, I was going to say King Ray.
COVID-19 versus Primal Instinct for the casual tag team titles.
All right.
Next week's tag team, Lauren.
Uh-huh.
You ready for this one?
Yeah.
Big E.
Okay.
And Otis.
Oh, there could be some big ones.
We're going to get some good names with Big E and Otis. All right, let's talk about some news.
Okay.
So, Stone Cold Steve Austin has left the door open for another match. Considering Steve Austin's recent comments about not ruling out another match, Lauren, in the future, which potential opponent do we think would make for the most exciting and memorable bout if he were to step into the ring again? I don't want him to step in the ring again. I think that he
ended on such a good note.
I think that there's just a problem, that high that you get, and he just see like it keeps built, like a fire keeps building up inside, and they want to do it one more time, and I want to do it one more time, and I want to do it more until you finally have that one match where you go, I can't do this anymore, and it's kind of sad.
Yeah.
Right? Because you go out there and even then, Kevin Owens carried that match. Like, let's not humor ourselves. Maybe time lets us forget, but Kevin Owens carried the build-up, and he carried a lot of the match. Now, Stone Cold took some impressive bumps. But, like, the only match that's left for Stone Cold Steve Austin is Brock Lesnar because of the history of what happened when Stone Cold walked out on Brock Lesnar. But I don't know that Stone Cold could handle the physicality that he would have to handle to be in a match with Brock Lesnar. And then it would be a
letdown.
Exactly. So, like, great, you leave the door open, but let's close it.
Yeah.
I would prefer you just close it. I would prefer you close it. And if you want to come out and have your music play and clink your fucking beers together and hit a Stone Cold Stunner on 3 or 4 people, I'm all good. Like, that is all we should get from Stone Cold
That's
for the rest of his life.
That's what I like, you know, just like little sneak peek.
Story number 2. Edge says at most he has 1 year of wrestling left inside of him. I thought, how many different ways does he say? I thought he said already that like this was his last year of wrestling.
Yeah.
But as Edge believes he might only have 1 more year left to wrestle at an elite level, what is a dream match or rivalry that we would like to see him take part in before he ultimately retires? Christian. I think that Edge's final story should be with Christian.
Oh, his like ex-friend.
His best friend. Right? It's his best friend, right?
In real life or in
I believe that they're strong friends in real life. I don't know if they're best friends, but they're good friends in real life.
Yeah.
They were best friends in wrestling. I think that's the only correct thing. I think that if Christian can get out of his contract with AEW at some point, I think that it would be proper that at like a Canadian pay-per-view that Edge finished his career against Christian and they both go out together. I'd love to see them like retire together and walk out of the ring together. Yeah. I would either like to see them one-on-one or in a tag team story to finish their career.
Yeah.
One way or the other, but Christian needs to be involved in that in some way. So this is the story that everybody's been wanting us to talk about.
Okay.
There's been a lot of talk this. So Chavo Guerrero, who is cousin or some kind of kin to Eddie Guerrero, the late Eddie Guerrero.
Did you say kin?
Yeah, kinfolk.
Okay.
That's how we talk in the South. Kinfolk. Okay? So Chavo Guerrero is tired of Rey Mysterio and other wrestlers prostituting Eddie Guerrero's name. Okay?
Prostituting
Eddie Guerrero's name. So Chavo Guerrero believes that Rey Mysterio and others are exploiting Eddie Guerrero's legacy. Okay? Lauren, do we agree with Chavo's perspective, or do we think that it's important to keep Eddie's memory alive in the wrestling world?
So I don't know that much about Eddie
Chavo Guerrero.
Right?
Shut the fuck up, dude. Like, how? Okay, look, I get it. This is wrestling, man. This is the shit that happens in wrestling. Rey Mysterio is in no way trying to prostitute the name of Eddie Guerrero. Let me help you out, Chavo, because you've never been at the level of Rey Mysterio and don't understand how over Rey Mysterio is with fans. Rey Mysterio doesn't need Chavo or doesn't need Eddie Guerrero's name to get over with the crowd.
I was gonna ask you a question, right?
Yeah,
go for it. I didn't know that much about Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah.
So like, were they a tag team? Were they like friends? Like
they had a huge rivalry. They had a huge some of the best WWE matches of all time. Worth going back and either two ways. Go back and watch the matches, or literally go back to last year's WWE video game and play the story mode. And it's a story of Rey Mysterio's career, and it was actually interesting and worth playing.
Oh, okay.
But like, yes, their careers are so fucking interconnected. Yeah. And sometimes I think stupid people just want to fucking talk and be heard.
Some people just want the attention.
I think that's what I think. Nobody's talking about Chavo.
Are you prostituting him, Chavo?
Really, right? Are you prostituting the fucking this story so that you could fucking get some attention? Because
who's Chavo again? I already forgot.
I don't know if he's cousin, some kind of uncle, fucking some kind of relation to Eddie Guerrero.
He's the part of the family that like they don't even talk to anymore.
No, I don't think it's like that. And Chavo Guerrero, like he's had significance in wrestling, never on the level of Eddie Guerrero. Was he a
wrestler?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But he's never had this. Rey Mysterio doesn't fucking need to prostitute Eddie Guerrero's name. It is 100% a sign of respect. I also think that I'm going to fucking defend Dominic Mysterio now. Dominic Mysterio is not being disrespectful by using the Eddie Guerrero name. Hey, Chavo, do you remember when they used Dominic Mysterio in a story between Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero? That forever tied these people together. This is like, it's so fucking stupid. Like, I can't stand.
What did they do with the Dominic?
There was a story about like who got custody of Dominic Mysterio when he was a kid. Yes, like this was a thing in WWE. So it's not now prostituting.
But he really is Rey Mysterio's son,
yes,
right?
Yes,
okay.
He looks like Rey Mysterio. Like I like to joke about it too, but he looks like Rey Mysterio. I'm sorry. Shut the fuck up, Chavo Guerrero.
Bye.
Mercedes Moné slated to be a free agent again. Considering Mercedes Moné's success in New Japan Pro Wrestling and Stardom, what wrestling promotion should she sign with next and why?
AEW, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know if WWE is going to take her back.
I mean, I think they take her back, but so questionable that we call it success. Right? I guess. I mean, I guess
I don't know what she did over there. I mean, I'm
she
not
went
New
and did
Japan
a thing.
wrestling.
Well, that's my point, right? It's like, how do we call it a success? Because it didn't reach casual fans. No. So you didn't expand the audience of New Japan Pro Wrestling and Stardom that much. Maybe there was a small influx of people who followed her, but we definitely weren't like, oh, we need to watch. I'm not getting up at 3 a.m. to watch her fucking, go to the ring and I don't want to start.
I know what I was literally thinking.
I'm gonna be the champion.
Wait, Dustin, it was a microphone issue.
Issues. Yeah, no, had nothing to do with drugs or alcohol. Allegedly. Yeah, like I don't know what success we're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't think she improved. I think that like the mid-tier matches she gets in WWE got more recognition than being the face of Stardom and New Japan Pro Wrestling. AEW. It's got to be AEW, right? Like that's where she needs to go.
Yeah. Her versus Britt Baker.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. No, there are interesting matches for her to be made in AEW for her.
Yeah.
I just don't think WWE would see it in their future to like really push her. Well, especially with her track record of getting pissed off and running.
At one point when she first like left, I was like, oh man. But then you forgot her, right?
Well, and
over time, and other people are coming up, and
with the poor booking of WWE right now, or women's division anyway, what is there for her to do? Really? Last story here: Ronda Rousey's WWE storyline plans put on hold. How do you think Ronda Rousey's injury and absence from the ring will impact the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship picture? And what other potential pairings could step up in the meantime? I don't think there was a plan B. I think this is what they thought was their plan was for Ronda and Shayna to be tag team champions, and they don't have a plan B. And so it's back to throw random people in the ring together. Apparently Ronda Rousey had a broken fucking arm
while she was wrestling
and just didn't tell anybody.
Ew.
Just show what? Ooh, fucking bad motherfucker. You talk about badass?
That's like ow.
This is like everybody in every other sport is a pussy. Yeah. You have NBA guys who fucking fingernail gets like broken and they need to sit out 3 to 6 weeks to fucking rest. Ronda Rousey's out here like, yeah, no, wrist, it just don't fucking work. I still show up. I'll still fucking show up.
When did she break it, or they don't know?
I mean, I didn't get that deep into details, but I think Shayna Baszler has some kind of fucked up leg. Ronda has a fucked up arm, and I get they didn't wrestle that much, but the fact that they fucking showed up.
Shayna, you hold me. I'll use your arm, and I'll use your leg.
I mean, it feels like that's really what it was, but I mean, fucking whole new fucking respect for Ronda Rousey.
So both of them are former
UFC fighters,
right?
Yeah, not pussies.
Yeah.
Bad motherfuckers. I mean, really, like you have these guys, and NBA is the worst, right? Oh man, I've got a fucking knee contusion. I don't think I'm gonna be. I fell in the basketball, bumped me in the back.
The one that we heard the other day? It was a fancy name for a bruise.
What sport were we talking about?
Hematoma.
It was a hematoma.
Football.
No, it was AFL. It was Aussie football. But those guys are tough. Okay. So I mean, I'm fucking. He probably had a rib that was displaced or something. But no, the NBA are the biggest pussies of like the basketball landed on my back. I need to take 4 to fucking. The Clippers are the worst. The fucking because they have a guy out. They've left Russell Westbrook to fucking defend for himself. I don't know why we're talking about basketball.
It's okay.
All right, Lauren, it's time for 10 questions. I've seen you over there fucking trying to sneak in. Don't look at my fucking thing. I'm always afraid you're going to see my answer here. But I've seen you sneak studies because what you did was all week.
I talked shit.
You were talking shit.
Major shit.
And then what happens is we show up and you haven't done any homework. Now,
I did. I just freak out on the
just
spot.
so you know, this is going on the 3rd week of me being the 10 questions champion. I've got a question for you, though.
Okay.
Should the person who currently holds the belt be in charge of the 10 questions game?
What do you mean?
So if you win the belt, should you then ask me 10 questions next week?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I like that.
You like that new?
Yes.
That's on the fly.
Let's hope it gets to that point.
That's on the fly creative. Triple H. I'm available. I'm just fucking saying. Like, call me up. I can write all the stories. Okay, 10 questions.
I just really freak out on the spot. Like, all the questions that were on my mind, my mind just goes, nope.
I even, because you talk shit all week, I gave you a very winnable choice this week.
Okay.
Here we go.
Okay.
Here we go.
Are we going?
We're going.
Was this person on Monday Night Raw?
Not gonna lie.
Okay.
I fast forwarded through a lot of Monday Night Raw this week. I had to like cram it in because I've been working on the CWC universe and other things like that. Fuck it. No.
You don't know. That's not
Shouldn't have been. He's not typically. If he was, he wasn't supposed to be there.
Okay. All right. So it's a boy.
I did give that away.
African American?
No. 2.
Okay. Is this person white?
Yes. 3.
Does this person have blonde hair?
No. 4.
Okay. Brown hair. I take it he's on SmackDown.
Talking to your microphone.
It's a person with blonde hair, and brown hair, and I take it he's on SmackDown.
I'm not answering that question.
Is he part of a faction?
Yes. 5.
And a faction is more than 2 people, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I feel like you're heading in the wrong direction, though. But that's okay. 5.
Is this a heel faction, or is it a
babyface?
Babyface.
Babyface. 6.
Babyface faction. Is there a girl in their group?
Hold on. Because I would say they're babyface.
Okay, so we'll not count that one then.
No, we're counting. I'm going to go babyface.
Okay. Is there a girl in their group?
No.
Okay, so it's all guys.
You got
brown hair.
3 more questions.
I'm not gonna fucking know. I just gotta fucking blank here. It's faction.
I feel like you're heading down the wrong direction. You're making I shouldn't help you, though.
Okay.
You're making assumptions on something.
But they're white, so they can't be them.
3 questions. Come on.
Are they part of the Alpha Academy?
No, and that didn't fit any part of where you were.
They have brown hair, they're white, and they're part of a group.
But there's 2 people in their group.
I know.
2 questions left. Okay. 2 questions and an answer.
You said this one was going to be easy.
Should be. You're making assumptions. I'm just telling you, you're making assumptions.
What am I assuming?
You're assuming something that's never been confirmed.
Hair?
Does he have hair? Yes. 1 question left.
I'm assuming something that hasn't been said. He's a white man with hair.
This is true.
And he's on SmackDown.
This is true.
And he's part of a group.
This is true. You have 1 question.
Oh, my God. Does he have long hair?
What do you consider long hair?
Anything past the shoulders.
No. Need an answer.
Oh, he doesn't have long hair?
No.
The Miz.
Lauren, The Miz isn't even on SmackDown.
I'm just so scared right now. What is it?
So the correct answer was Sheamus.
I assumed that he had brown hair.
You kept assuming he had brown hair.
Oh.
Just because it's not blonde does not make it brown.
I get so freaked out on these.
That was such.
How about I get a cheat sheet next time?
What?
Why
What's
can't we go back
sheet?
to 20 questions? Why is it 10 questions?
Because 20 is it's inevitably super easy with 20 questions to pick a current WWE superstar.
Do I get a bonus round?
No.
Ding 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 go.
What would the bonus? Okay. What? New one?
New one. Let's go.
You want a rematch on the same night?
Yeah, fuck it.
All right, hold on.
Girls.
Girls? Has to be a girl?
Girls, yes.
Is this a sanctioned match for the title?
Yeah. We'll go for it. Go for gold.
All right, go for it. 10 questions.
All right. Was this person on Monday Night Raw?
No. It's 1.
Okay. Does this person have red hair?
No. 2.
Does this person have blonde hair?
3. Yes.
Okay. Is this person below the age of 30?
No. 4.
Okay. Is this person a champion?
No. 5.
Oh, motherfucking shit. Okay. Is she in a tag team?
No. 6.
Okay. Is this person over the age of 40?
Don't know. Don't think so.
Okay, so then it's not.
I could check, I guess.
Yeah, check. It's not Trish Stratus then.
I don't know how old Trish Stratus is. I don't even know where my phone is.
Okay, but it's not Trish Stratus though, right?
I'm not giving you that information.
Well, because if you say you don't know how old she is, it's over the age of 40.
Is she?
Yes, she's like 46.
I don't think that's true either.
Yeah, it is. What? Okay, let me rephrase that. Is she a returning wrestler?
No.
Okay, so
I
she's.
think you have 3 questions left.
God damn it! I'm gonna lose this one too. Okay.
Yeah, you are.
Does she have short blonde hair?
No. 2 questions left.
Right, long blonde hair. I'm gonna totally fucking miss
Yeah, you
this
are.
one. I am gonna miss it.
Yeah, you are.
Okay. Is she white?
Yes. 1 question left.
God. Long blonde hair. Oh. Does she say? Wait. Does she dress up in costumes? Well, I guess they all dress up in costumes.
I was going to say.
Is she extreme?
Is she extreme? No.
Okay, so it's not Liv Morgan.
You also asked if she was a champion, which Liv Morgan is, so waste of a question. But you need to guess now.
Alexa Bliss.
Nope. Lacey Evans, mother sucker.
Oh, man. I forgot about her. Where is she? She died.
Yeah, I guess so.
All right.
That is all the time we have for this week. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Acknowledge your 10 question champion.
10 question champion.
And make sure to check out our Discord to meet other cool wrestling and casual fans. Make sure to check out the other content on the channel like Casual Cravings, Casual Viewings, Casual Fans, Casual Mixtapes. I forget all the shows that we have now. And as always, I am the Notorious Nerdy D. That is Level Up, Lauren. Ring the final bell.
Ding, 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 ding.